Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean...
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Behind-the-scenes camera crap.
Here, tell us about courage, Phil. Tell us about courage.
I am Nadella. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing. Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landen.
Hello.
And Caleb.
Hi.
And we are here to talk all things tech this week. And let's be real, last week, since we weren't here.
Yeah.
But
there was a holiday. That's what I'm blaming it on.
That's pretty much what it was. And yeah, it was a holiday. So, all right. Well, let's get into this episode, shall we? Let's go ahead and take a look at our fancy new list here that we have. Oh, yeah. Hot off the press here. I mean, the paper's still warm on this one. We're going to go dive into Apple. Looks like Apple's got an event here that's coming up this Tuesday. We have some expectations and predictions. I mean, my expectation is that Caleb has some predictions.
That's a reasonable expectation. So, listener, it's the beginning of September. I'm not sure if you noticed.
Yeah.
That means Apple's going to be releasing their new iPhones. This is how it has been since, like, the iPhone 4, I want to say. I think it's been since the iPhone 4. They've been doing it at the beginning of September. Might have been the 3GS. Can't remember exactly. Point is, it's happening. Tuesday, September the 12th. By the time you're listening to this podcast, it's like, might be happening right now. So go over to YouTube and you can watch the stream. Or don't do that, in fact, because it's probably going to be really boring because their iPhone events have been pretty friggin' dull the past few years because the iPhone itself isn't... Okay, let's just talk about what I am expecting from this event. So
a Pixel.
There.
Oh wait.
No, that's the phone that I might be buying instead of an iPhone come October. Anyways,
wow,
you heard it here. Ooh.
Seriously though, let me tell you why I'm disappointed. We're going to start off with the fact that rumor has had it for months at this point that this year's iPhones, the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus and 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, are going to be getting USB-C ports in place of their Lightning ports. This is a report that is actually coming from credible sources this year, as opposed to all the previous years where it was just wishful thinking. So it seems like, actually, yes, this will be happening. Not terribly surprising. The writing is kind of on the wall for this. As of next year, the EU is going to have legislation in place that will require Apple to ship with USB-C ports any devices that they sell in that country, or in the Europe, basically. So, yeah, it's not surprising they're doing this. But, and I feel like this but is pretty endemic of the entire swath of rumors of what we're expecting from the iPhone 15. Just because it's a USB-C port doesn't mean it's a USB-C port, okay? Not all USB-C ports are created equal, listener. You may be aware of this. If you have a pair of Bluetooth headphones, there's a really good chance that the USB-C port on your Bluetooth headphones is only doing two things. It's delivering power to recharge the batteries, and if your headphones do support a wired mode, it's got two more pins in that connector that are hooked up so that it can connect to a 3.5mm headphone jack on the other end of the cable, and you can plug it in and listen to music wired. That's it. That's all that USB-C port is doing. It won't do fast data transfer. It won't let you plug in PCIe devices. It won't let you plug in external displays, yada, yada, yada. Okay? Now, the Lightning port on iPhones came out back in a day when Apple's 30-pin, like proprietary 30-pin port was large, but still fairly reasonable. as far as ports go. And Lightning itself was just a giant quantum leap over the competing just generic USB standards of the day. But that was also this era of USB 2.0, which was, great when it came out. It's really slow by today's standards. But in the interest of backwards compatibility, the USB-C standard includes 2 pins to support USB 2.0 transfer protocols, right? So that you can take a USB-C cable and a USB-C device and plug them into a USB 2.0 port on an old computer, and it'll still connect, and it'll still work, and it's like, sweet. Backwards compatibility is awesome. I have no gripes with the with the USB consortium for including that backwards compatibility. I do have complaints about the fact that apparently Apple is only going to enable those USB 2.0 pins on the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus. That's what the rumor is. So you will be getting power and USB 2.0, which is like 30 times slower than USB 4. No, sorry, 300 times slower than USB 4. Okay? Apple will be enabling full USB 4 support on the Pro devices, but if you get a generic iPhone 15, you don't actually get a USB-C port. What you are getting is basically a glorified USB micro B port. Okay?
Oh.
So I'm not happy about that. And that's how all of this stuff, like all the rumors and everything we've been getting trickling down for Apple's new phones, has been landing for me. So my prediction for what we are going to be seeing at this Tuesday's event is they're going to stand up. They're going to make a big hullabaloo about how the iPhone is the best-selling phone on the planet. It is. There's reasons for that, not all of them good. But I think that one of those reasons is just inertia, momentum at this point. People expect the iPhone to be awesome, and so they just buy the iPhone. And yeah, it's going to have a USB-C port on it, which means you'll be able to charge it with the same cable that you use to charge everything else, so long as it's not an old iPhone. And that's great. Like, okay, I like the cable interoperability, but Apple is going to have bizarre restrictions on what you can do with that USB-C port. It's not going to be a normal USB-C port. You're not going to be able to use a USB-C like dongle to adapt that thing to Ethernet or plug in an external display or something like that. It's going to be hampered in ridiculous, unpredictable, obnoxious ways. Okay? So that's my first prediction. Second prediction, Apple is going to make a huge deal about the cameras on the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus, because they're just going to take the cameras from last year's Pro and put them in the 15 and 15 Plus. It's not really going to be that excited. The slightly bigger deal will be made about the Pro's cameras. Rumor has it they're going to be putting a periscope lens onto the telephoto camera, like on the Pro devices, which means that you'll be able to, instead of getting technically like 4x if you count from the wide angle to the telephoto, you'll be able to get, like, just from the normal camera to telephoto, you'll be able to do something like 5 to 10x zoom or something. So okay, that's cool. I mean, better zoom is nice. Improved cameras across the whole lineup is good, but do we need improved cameras? Like, at this point, I feel like Apple is trying to chase the whole, like, your iPhone can make you a videographer, a professional photographer. And I'm like, but it can't. Like, it actually can't. An iPhone can give somebody who is interested in videography or photography a device to start with, right? Like, it gives them a phone that is going to get them like 75, 80% of the way to doing actual pro work, which is super cool and a great way to get people into hobbies and or professions that might otherwise be inaccessible due to equipment costs. But it's also not that special, and you could frankly have done this with an iPhone 8, or maybe an iPhone X. So they'll make a big deal about that. I don't really think it's going to move the dial too much. The phones are going to have basically the same design. There'll be slightly different colors that I'm sure are going to be described as stunning or groundbreaking or whatever. The processor in the highest end phone is going to be the fastest processor on the market. The processor in the 15-inch, the iPhone 15, the normal ones, this 15-inch iPhone would actually be incredible now that I've accidentally said that. I'm not predicting that, to be clear. But yeah, the processor in the normal one is just going to be the processor that was in the Pro last year, and it'll be the second fastest processor on the market. Whoop-de-frickin-do. They've been so far ahead of Qualcomm for so long that, yeah, I'm not going to miss it with my iPhone 13, you know? So, yeah, like, these are my predictions. They're going to make a big, stinking, like, row about how this is the best iPhone we've ever made. We've moved everything forward in every possible category, and it's going to be just another year of tiny, incremental, barely noticeable, mostly unimportant updates that, yeah, I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled. It'll be all the same screen sizes. It'll be the same lineup, and bets both iPhone Pros are going to start at $100 more than they did last year. Because last year they raised the price of the cheapest iPhone $100, and the next iPhone up $100, and now the iPhone Plus, the 14 Plus, is too close to the Pro to justify its existence, and so the solution to that is not, obviously, to decrease the price of the base iPhone up by $100 to put a little bit more spread between the Plus and the Pro so that it makes more sense. No. The play is obviously to increase the price of the Pro and the Pro Max so that there's more spread between the Plus and the Pro. So those are my predictions. We're going to get a USB-C port that is, like, deliberately handicapped on the generic iPhones, and the Pro models are going to go up in price. Nothing else matters.
Man,
Yay!
you're so excited right now.
And that's why I'm going to be buying an Asus Zenfone Pro, or 10. What's the latest one?
10.
Is it the 10?
The 10.
Okay. They better freaking make an 11, Asus. Make an 11 next year. I'll buy it at this rate.
That would actually be kind of crazy. Like, our podcast would have come full circle. Like, everyone jumping to the other.
Everyone is now on a different platform.
Like, that would be kind of crazy.
Yeah,
True.
that's true. I mean, like, honestly, the only thing that's holding me back at this point is that Apple Arcade is not a thing on Android, right? Like,
Yeah.
all
True.
of Apple's other services, I can keep using them. I can keep using iCloud. I can even use iCloud Keychain now. I can keep using Apple Music and Apple TV. All of these things exist over there. And it's just Apple Arcade is the only thing I'd really be missing out on. And I'd only be missing out on it on my phone. I'd still have it on my Mac. I'd still have it on my Apple TV. Still have it on my iPad. All these things. So, I don't know. Do I need it on my phone? That's the question.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The biggest thing I'm interested in this event is any sort of change that might be happening with the watch.
Yeah.
Not that I'm
true.
going to buy one, but it obviously depends on how significant these changes are, because I've got an Apple Watch 6. This one will be the 9. So,
yep.
I'm a few years behind at this point. I'm interested to see what they do, but again, I'm not expecting anything grand or, crazy, but you never know. There hasn't been a lot of rumors about the watch.
Yeah, not so much. There's been a few about the Ultra, about
Yeah.
things we might expect from the Ultra, but not a ton about the regular watch. Which, like, to be clear, if they just make some minor incremental improvements to the watch and sell it for the same price as they were selling it last year, that's fine.
Yeah.
I have no problems with incremental updates to a device, just so long as you don't start charging more money for it, as if you did nothing to this thing and now it's more expensive. How does that make sense, Apple?
Yeah.
And that's the thing they do, and that's what's going to happen with the Pro phones this year, right? Happened with the generic iPhone last year. Now it's going to happen to the Pro phones this year, and then they'll all be overpriced, and I'm just so done with this. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just so long as they don't jack up the price of the watch by a whole bunch, then I probably won't be whining about it. But we'll find out next week.
Yeah, one thing I'm also interested in is if they do unveil a new Apple Watch Ultra, how much people will be selling used ones for.
Ooh, that's a good
Because
question.
depending on that price, that might be tempting. I would not hate to have a Apple Watch Ultra. Mostly for two reasons: the bigger screen, the bigger battery, and the more durable, like the more durability on it is also beneficial. I've just got the Sport. It's aluminum. Doesn't have the sapphire crystal or glass on it. It's like when I'm at work, I put a case on this thing. If I go out on a bike ride, I put a case on it because if I don't and I do something, I mean, it already it has scratches on it. It's a watch. It's going to get scratches, but it has them anyways. So like if I could get a nicer one with a little more durability, that would be nice.
Yeah, that's fair. And then if you accidentally drop it down to the bottom of a lake, then it'll be okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Which added benefit. You could also accidentally drop it like on the summit of Mount Everest, and it would be okay.
Well,
I don't know how you accidentally do that, but
and I mean, for me, it's far more likely that I drop it in a lake than I drop it at Mount Everest, especially the top. If I drop it anywhere at Mount Everest, it's going to be the base camp, or it's going to be looking up at it from 50 miles away. And even then, it's extremely unlikely because I'm not going there anytime soon.
I actually knew a guy who was working for months to prepare for a big hike. And we didn't, at first people, we didn't have details about what was going on. Finally, somebody was all like, so what hike is, like, you're talking about foreign travel. You're talking about like all these hikes you've been doing to prepare for it and these backpacking trips and stuff. And it's all like, you doing like Kilimanjaro? Like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm going to Everest. And everyone's like, holy, you're gonna hike Everest? And he's like, no, heavens, are you kidding? I'm not ready for that. The base camp. We're going to hike to the Everest base camp and then stay there for a couple of days and then turn around and come back. And I'm like, you're doing all of this preparation just to make it to the base camp? What's that hike like? But yeah, it turns out it's like a week-long backpacking trip just to get to Everest base camp. And then you have to climb the mountain after that. Wild. Anyways,
Jeez.
I would recommend not dropping a watch on the summit of Mount Everest because that means you're on the summit of Mount Everest, and I wouldn't recommend that. Just why?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways. That's all. Those are my predictions. Those are my thoughts on the event. It would be wonderful if Apple blew my expectations here. But quite frankly, it has been a really long time since they've done that properly. Like the last time they announced something on stage that I was like over the moon excited about, it was the iPhone 12 mini. We all saw how that turned out.
Yeah. All right. Well, unless Landen's got something else he wants to talk about on this subject. No. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to move on to some Google news. On here, we're going to talk about the Pixel 8. Landen, what you got for us on this Pixel 8?
Well,
Google has maybe leaked on accident.
Well, no, this was definitely not accident.
Yeah.
This was on purpose. And they've done this the past couple years where, I mean, this was a little later than it has been in the past few years. The past few years, they've like, what was it? Was it last year that they showed off the Pixel 7 at I.O.? Like, here's the phone.
That's right.
So
yes, that's right.
They kind of did that this year, but not, I mean, they didn't do it at I.O., but they did just this past week. They put out a teaser video announcing the date for the announcement, which is going to be October 4th for Pixel 8 and the Pixel Watch 2. And then who knows what else they're, they might have something up their sleeves, or they might show off another tablet that comes out in 5 years. I don't know. But so this little teaser does show off what the Pixel 8, the Pixel 8 Pro, and the Pixel Watch 2 look like. The Pixel Watch 2, if you didn't know that's what you're looking at, you would probably think, oh, it's just a Pixel Watch, because that's what it looks like. The Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro also very similar to the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro. So that's it for that. We've got, if you really want to know what they look like, they're showing off the phones in a white color and a pink color. Both look pretty good, but they're Pixel phones. So there's that. And yeah, October 4th, that's the day that we will be seeing the official announcement of these devices. So Google's just
all right,
doing what they normally do and be like, hey, here's the pre-announcement of the announcement.
Yep.
I don't fully understand why they do it, but I guess maybe it's because they know that these images are going to get leaked out anyways. I mean, they already were, but Google is the worst with keeping secrets on any of their stuff.
It's true.
So I guess, just showing it off themselves makes some sense.
I mean, I'm interested to see what they have. I mean, I'm going to assume it's just going to be like the same increments, like for per one. So like I don't feel that this is something I'll be too interested in, just because I've already got the 7. So
right.
I usually wait. I'm on the odd cycle, the odd number. So 9 I'd be interested in. But
there you go.
I mean, we obviously don't know. Well, I haven't cared to look up rumors that much on the Pixel devices. If you really do care, you probably know everything about these phones already. But I'm not expecting massive updates, but hopefully more than what the iPhone's going to do. But I'm not even expecting bigger than that. So,
just so long as they don't jack up the price. I mean, that's not bad.
Heck, if they jack up the price, they're still cheaper than the iPhone.
That's so true.
So
Gosh
true.
dang it. Apple, why do you make this so easy for everybody else?
To be fair, I also blame Samsung.
That's true, actually. Yeah. Oh, man.
They are expensive. Friggin' A. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next subject here. Pixel Pass. And it's going away.
Yeah.
Landen?
Listener, in case you had forgotten about Pixel Pass, because I kind of did.
I did too, and I have a Pixel. I totally... I mean,
So,
they let me know of it every 3 months, but then it stopped.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny because if you don't know what Pixel Pass was, it's kind of like what Apple has done with the iPhone upgrade program, where you pay a monthly fee and you could upgrade your phone. The way Apple's works is you pay a monthly fee for the phone and you can update it every year and just keep paying that same monthly fee, depending on if you get the same price point phone,
Right.
The way Google's worked is you would pay a certain amount of money for the phone, and you'd also get with it the premium versions of YouTube and Google Play Pass and also Google One. So you got a little extra stuff involved with that, with the phone. And it wasn't a bad deal. And the way that this one worked is it was every 2 years, after 2 years, your phone would be paid off, or I think you could upgrade every year and just keep paying that. But after 2 years, the phone would be paid off. The best part about this is they introduced this with the Pixel 6 22 months ago. So they didn't even make it that full 2 years that they said the phones would be paid off in.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
It's amazing. The things Google does and kills. It's just, it's ridiculous. Now, they are saying that if you had bought a Pixel 6 or a Pixel 7 with this plan in mind, that you can stay on that plan until the phone is paid off. And then you'll be able to get the services that come with it for a discounted price, is what they say. How long that offer is going to go for, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what they're saying. And you will also get $100 gift card to the Google Store, basically to buy another Pixel device or something from, hardware from them. So
right.
That's okay. But yeah, I just find it really funny that this didn't even make it a full 2 years that they said the plan was for.
Man.
Yeah, I looked into it actually, now that I remember, because I was like, oh, I already have the YouTube Premium.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, I was looking at maybe doing the OneDrive for just like the smallest amount. And I'm like, well, and then Pixel Pass wouldn't be too bad. But then I was like, oh, this would be great. And then I found out they don't have a family plan for any of it.
Right.
So I was like, oh, well, I'm stick with what I got, I guess. It was kind of lame.
Yeah. That's no longer a thing. I kind of wish that they would do something like what Apple does, where it's just for the phone. Just, you do your monthly payment for what the phone would cost, and if you want to upgrade after a year, you can. If you don't, you just keep paying it off. And then once it's paid off, you're done.
Yep.
But they're not going to do that because, I don't know, they're jerks, I guess.
Who knows? It's Google. We're used to this, though.
I know. It's becoming an even bigger problem than it was in the past. Like, it's to the point where you can't trust anything Google puts out service-wise. Like,
true.
It's like, is it going to be here in a year and a half? Is it going to be here in a year, you know? Like, Stadia didn't even make it a year, did it? Like, a year and a half, maybe? It was nothing.
It was just over a year.
It's like, okay, you're putting out stuff that's, you know, decent ideas. People like them. But then you're like, oh, never mind. We're going to kill it. And apparently, I can't remember where I heard this, but someone said that they were informed from someone that works at Google that if something is not making them, what was it? Was it $1 billion? I can't remember. Not $1 billion. It was like a certain amount of money. They're just going to kill it. Like, that's just stupid. You're making so much money elsewhere. You have plenty of money to just do random crap, which, I mean, to be fair, they do a bunch of random crap. But let some of it keep going. The stuff that people like, the people use. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Google basically is kind of the poster child for everyone's argument about how, like, digital content purchasing and stuff like that is super sketchy and how did we ever let ourselves get onto this timeline? But, like, you know, they raised those concerns over iTunes, over Steam, stuff like that. And those are still around. They're fine. They're going strong. It's just, but yeah, Google services do kind of tend to get kiboshed fairly regularly. At this point, I'm kind of like, at what point is Gmail going to go away?
Well,
like,
Gmail
how much
makes
money are they honestly making off of? Yeah, but how much? I guess the data mining is a big part of what is profitable about Gmail to them. But
yeah, they killed Inbox. They're not going to kill Gmail. Which I'm still very upset about. I loved Inbox. And they still have not brought all the features over that they said they would. Inbox was great.
Oh, man.
But yeah, there's just another thing that Google had to kill. Freaking, gosh.
Has it been added to the graveyard yet?
Oh, I'm sure it has. I can check really quick, but yeah, I'd be surprised.
I'm already checking.
Curious, is it?
Let's see. Oh, right. Gosh dang, I've forgotten that Google Domains was also getting the chop.
Which that made me upset too, because I have like 3 or 4 different domains I bought from Google Domains.
Yeah,
I didn't mention that on the podcast because I didn't necessarily think it was relevant, but yeah.
But no, that's gonna die in 19 days. I'd totally forgotten about that.
Yeah, they sold that infrastructure over to Squarespace.
Yes,
I remember that.
So now apparently I'm going to have a Squarespace domain, which is like weird.
Yeah. But yeah. So Google doing what we expect them to do. Killing things people like.
Friggin' Google. All right. Well, let's move on to the next topic here we got is Android rebranding.
Yeah. So Google, it's actually doing something, I guess beneficial. So it's been 4 years since the last rebrand of Android. And so they're making nothing major, nothing crazy. It's not like a, Android 2 to Android 3 that was, let's say Android 3 to Android 4, going from that Jelly Bean to, what was Android 4? Ice cream sandwich? I can't remember. But there were some major differences in those OSs. Or like iOS 4 to iOS 5. Was it iOS 5 that had it was iOS 7.
iOS 7. Yeah.
7 was
where
the
they
one that
ditched
had
the
the
skeuomorphism.
major changes. Nothing like that. It's just some little minor tweaks. Basically, the main thing is on the word Android, the A is now capitalized instead of a lowercase a to make it more in sync with Google's branding. Makes sense, I guess. And the bug droid that we all know and love is now 3D instead of, your little two-dimensional character. And it actually looks pretty good. They got a couple videos out with it, like changing colors and different things, changing designs. I like it. Now, I think that bodes well for the continuation of the Google statues at Google's campus for Android. But, we'll see on that for sure. But I like the idea because those statues have kind of been, they're 3D, obviously. They're real statues. But they're in that kind of two-dimensional look. Like there's no, like they're very thin. Whereas this one, they could actually make a full cylindrical bug droid like it looks in these videos. But that has yet to be seen, obviously, because this just happened this week. But it's not bad. I like it. And that's pretty much the whole rebranding thing. It's nothing like the OS is not changing in any major way. But just the labeling and the marketing aspect of it is what's changing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It looks good, I guess.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on then. We're going to hop over to some Microsoft. Just little tidbits on
oh my gosh, there's
ABK.
so much Microsoft news. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's so much right now. If you're this excited, boy, wait till October for the next ABK update.
Yeah.
There's no new updates. There's so much about it. It's just, geez. Yeah, October is going to be probably the day. Once it gets closer to then, more things may be coming out. Microsoft is just always fighting regulators. I know right now, not with ABK, but with their whole bundle of Office and Teams. It's kind of under fire right now.
Yep.
Obviously in the EU, they're looking at it. And I think Zoom is the next person to hop on the bandwagon in other places to say, hey, we need to unbundle Teams with Office. So,
yeah,
there's nothing more to really say other than that's what's happening.
On the one hand, I understand the argument that, if it's the argument that everybody made about Internet Explorer back in the day. Like, well, yes, obviously Microsoft is going to have the most browser usage on the planet because they ship a browser with their operating system and they have the most used operating system on the planet. So for somebody to compete in the browser space, they would have to make their own OS, right? Like, that's the argument everybody made. Yeah. And then Firefox happened, and then Chrome happened, and it turns out, no, you just need to make a better browser.
Yeah,
exactly. Internet Explorer, which turned out to not be that difficult. So, it's like, I get the argument, they got to stop bundling Teams because that's keeping people from using Zoom. And my response to that, Zoom, is your customers are giant corporations that don't actually pay attention to the amount of money spent on their monthly subscriptions. Like, they don't care. They're just going to pay money for whatever works, right?
Yep.
And whatever is consistent and useful and usable. And I think the vast majority of cases, Zoom wins over Teams, and majority of corporations have subscriptions to Zoom. I don't think most of them are using Teams. I just feel like this is Zoom getting really panicky about what Teams could become or something like that, which, again, just look at Internet Explorer. How'd that turn out?
Yeah.
Oh, it's dead. Right.
Yeah. It took a long time.
I mean, it did.
A long time.
But for the majority of that time, it was the most popular web browser for downloading a different web browser.
Yes.
Like, people would install Windows, download a different browser, and never use it again, except accidentally, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that that's kind of how Teams is. It may not change. I mean, we'll see. Zoom, if you just stay ahead of them. I don't know. How hard can that be? It's Teams, for crying out loud.
I don't know. I don't have any skin. I don't use them very much, either of them, so I can't really be like, yes, this one or that. So I can't give too much. But hey, Microsoft's fighting regulators all the time. So we're going to move on. We're going to get into some general tech. And we're going to talk about the Fairphone 5. Sorry, I butchered that name.
It's not like it's that hard to say, Wes. Come on.
No, I just can't read good. You know that.
That's true. That's
So.
true. All right. Yes, the Fairphone 5 was announced this past week. And normally this type of device, or like a device that's not getting a worldwide release, I may not talk about, but I've been a fan of the Fairphone devices ever since they started. The biggest thing with Fairphone is they try to make their devices extremely repairable. Like, they are very much in like favor of the right to repair movement that's been going on the last little while, up to the point where this phone has 10 exchangeable modules and a lot of individual parts besides that can be replaced. Like, you can replace the battery. On their website, it says within seconds. Now, that may be, 60 seconds, so it's technically, or 59 seconds, so it's technically not a minute, but still, that's ridiculously fast. Like, it's got the main frame of the phone is aluminum, but the back is a removable plastic back, like you would have, 10 years ago on a phone. But that's there on this phone. So you can take that off, take the battery out. You can change out the cameras. You can change out the processor. There's just so many things that you can get to replace on this phone. It's crazy. And the other thing that they're all about is recyclability. And obviously with the repairability of the phone, that shows there. But a lot of this phone is made from recycled plastics and different things like that. So that's nice. The biggest update to this phone, though, is they now have gone to an OLED screen. So that's nice. Makes a better viewing experience for the user, and also better for battery life.
Yeah.
And another thing that they're offering with this phone is 5 OS updates and 8 years of security patches promised, with potentially extending that up to 10 years, they say.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Nobody is
That's
offering that.
actually wild. Not on Android, that's for sure.
Definitely not
Google
on Android.
Doesn't offer that.
Yeah, definitely not on Android. This is in the iOS territory here with
it is
software upgrades.
And to be clear, iOS does a great job with supporting phones like long term, but 5 OS updates and 8 years of security updates is long for iOS, and not every iPhone gets that. Like when did the iPhone 8 come out?
Same year as the X, I believe. Right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And
so that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. So yeah, I think technically that would be about what the iPhone 8 got, because the iPhone 8 has been dropped this year, right? iOS, the next version of iOS is not going to support the iPhone 8. So iPhone 8 made it 5 updates. Or wait, no. That would have been 4 updates if last year's was the last update.
I think it was 6 years, though, because they had the 10 and then the 10, or the X and the XS. And now we're on the 15th. So I think it was 6 years ago when that came out.
Well, right. So it came out 6 years ago.
So it had 5 OS updates.
Last year was the last OS it got. So not counting the OS that shipped on it, because that's not an update.
True.
I think that's 4. It's 4 or 5. I'm not sure exactly, but the
Came out
point
in
is, listener,
2017.
that okay. Yeah. Okay. So maybe that was 5. Anyways, the point is, this is extremely equivalent to what Apple gets you on iOS. Like, it's the same level of support kind of thing. And honestly, offering 3 years of security updates beyond the 5 OS updates, is that might actually be a little bit more than what the iPhone 8 gets. Like, the iPhone 8 will be supported this year and next year, at least, for security updates, but after that, maybe not. So yeah, this is extremely, extremely equivalent to what Apple has done with the iPhones. And I don't think there's any other Android phone that gets you even close.
No, there's definitely not another Android phone that's like this. And that's crazy. Now, I'm trying to remember if this phone is coming to the US. It's been exclusively a European-only phone over the years because they're made... Where are they made? Are they made in England? I can't remember where they're made, but the company's based out of Europe somewhere. And yeah, so like, and with basically legal reasons, they've kept it just in the EU for as long as it's been around. Again, I don't know if this one's coming to the US or not. I heard it might be, but it's still a really cool
I'm not
phone.
sure.
Now, some of the specs that you're going to get with this phone, it comes with a Qualcomm QCM6490 chip. I don't know what that is, but it's apparently one that can be upgraded a lot. So
I think it's
all that matters.
I think it's a custom chip. It's probably based on one of the higher end Qualcomm chips, but this is some kind of custom silicon that Fairphone has built with Qualcomm.
Yeah. It's got a 6.46 inch display. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of built-in storage that can be expanded with an SD card slot up to 2 terabytes, more than that. So you got an SD card slot. It's got a 4,200 milliamp hour battery. The only port on this phone is just a USB-C. They do not have a headphone jack in this year's model, which is fine, I suppose. It is launching with Android 13 because Android 14 doesn't come out for another few weeks. The front camera is a 50 megapixel camera, so that's pretty crazy. On the back, it's got a 50 megapixel main sensor, a 50 megapixel ultra-wide sensor as well. So you're getting some pretty decent cameras, and the pictures and videos I've seen come out of this are actually pretty good. You can get it in a few different colors, black, blue, or transparent. So they're copying OnePlus there, and it does look pretty good on the transparent one. It does have 30-watt charging that they say you can charge up to 50% in 20 minutes, so that's pretty good. And despite the fact that it is very repairable and parts can be replaced and whatnot, they are still giving it an IP55 water and dust resistant rating, which obviously isn't as high as, some of these other newer phones that are like the iPhones or Pixels and whatnot, but it's still, for what it is, that's pretty good. And the price on this thing is 700 euros. So that's not bad for the specs.
Nope.
And the fact that you can keep this phone for 8 years and be perfectly fine. And Fairphone is also offering a 5-year warranty on the phone. Now, what that warranty includes, I'm not entirely sure, but it's Fairphone. So, I mean, if something goes out on your phone, they're going to have parts to replace it for you for relatively cheap forever, probably. So,
yep.
I mean, it's crazy. I love what these guys are doing. I love seeing more phones. I'm glad that they're still going for the last it's been more than 5 years because the Fairphone 4 came out 2 years ago. So they've been around for a while.
It's kind of an every other year cadence with the Fairphones. Like, they don't quite do it every year, but that sort of makes sense from a sustainability standpoint because, they don't want to encourage everybody to upgrade their phone every year because that's bad for the planet. And their whole thing is don't buy a new phone every year. So Why would they release a new one every year? That wouldn't make sense. So that's good. I'm glad they don't
Yeah.
do that.
And like I was saying, like replacement wise, like this article I'm reading says you can get a new battery for this thing for 40 euros, a new screen for 100, and a new back cover for 25. Like, I mean, you get a new screen, a new battery for your phone for $150 roughly. That thing will last you another 3 or 4 years just with that.
That's basically a new phone at that point.
Yeah.
For most people.
It's ridiculous and amazing. I love it. I love to see stuff like this. So Fairphone,
yeah,
you keep doing this because it's great.
That's cool. All right. Unless anyone has anything else they want to say about the Fairphone 5.
Hey, you said it right. Good job.
I did. I was practicing the entire time while you were talking.
It's just on mute over there. We see his mouth over
Fairphone 5. Fairphone 5.
Fairphone
Fairphone
5. You knew me too well. All right, let's move on to some AMD news. AMD, the 7800 XT and the 7700 XT launch.
Caleb. All right. So, listener, a little bit ago, about a month ago, we talked about how AMD had announced the RX 7800 XT and the 7700 XT graphics cards to round out the middle of their 7000 series Radeon lineup. Now, they're out. This past week, they launched, review videos went live, and everybody had a big old, yeah, all right, about it. Like, that was...
Yeah.
Though, to be clear, the reception of the last GPU launch, which was the RTX 4060 Ti and 4060, was just the sound of explosive diarrhea in a public restroom. This is a huge improvement. You know, when pretty much the entire tech world comes together and says, you know what? The 7800 XT is actually pretty decent, and nobody has giant hot takes about how horrible it is, and nobody's whining at AMD for their pricing or anything like that. Like, they just made a product that is an okay product and sold it without insulting any of their customers or angering anybody in the news coverage space. And that's great. Good job, AMD. You managed to not trip over this bar that we left lying on the floor. Like, that's how low the bar was. There was no way you could possibly get under it. But you managed not to trip on it, like NVIDIA did, and has been doing repeatedly. They trip over it, they stand up, they move it forward, and then they deliberately trip on it again. It's been really frustrating. So,
yeah,
just to summarize, the 7800 XT is not like a budget gaming powerhouse. It costs $500, okay? It's a mid-range card, kind of expensive for a mid-range card, but considering that the 6800 XT costs, I think, $650, $500 is not bad. The mid-range is actually costing a little bit closer to what we would expect mid-range graphics cards to cost, and that's good. I'm happy about that. It also delivers a significant improvement in performance over the 7800 non-XT. Okay, so the 6800 non-XT. The 6800 XT is closer in performance to the 7800 XT than anyone thinks it should be, and quite frankly, if the 7800 XT had just been called the 7800 and released for $450, I think a lot of people would be like, actually, the bang for your buck on this card is super good, and it's finally somebody is selling a card that, you know, power, like frames per dollar, actually makes sense in the year of our Lord 2023. That's not quite what happened. It still hurts a little bit to have it cost what it does, and they're still calling it an XT model. So I don't know, you know, like it's not all sunshine and roses here, but mostly we don't feel like we've been actively insulted by AMD, and that is just a nice change of pace. That being said, the 7700 XT does cost $450, is not as powerful as it should be at that price, probably should cost $50 less than it does, at least. And there seems to be a lot of folks out there that think that the 7700 XT was released to make the 7800 XT look better by comparison. So, okay, AMD's not perfect either, but at least they're not actively flipping us both birds as they drive off in a wagon full of money.
Yeah.
So that's about the most positive thing I've said about a graphics card launch in Check's watch about 4 years. So that's good job, AMD, I guess. Actually, longer than 4 years, because before the pandemic and all of that nonsense, there was the crypto thing. It's been since like 2017 that graphics cards made sense, you know? So
yeah, that's a long time.
Which is why it's been since 2017 since I've upgraded my graphics card, and why I'm still running an RX 580. Which
Jeez.
hurts.
I mean, I'm only running
actually.
1060, so on
That's
NVIDIA
true.
side. So.
Yeah, it does kind of hurt, but we'll get into why that is later. So yeah, I don't. That's pretty much all there is to say about these cards. Like, in terms of performance, they're pretty decent 1440p gaming cards. They do okay at ray tracing, not as good as the NVIDIA cards, but let's be honest, if ray tracing is like a really big feature for you and it matters a lot, then you were saving up money for a 4090 anyways, and nothing I was going to say was going to convince you otherwise. So I don't know. That doesn't really matter. Yeah, like, they're decent cards, which is nice. Could be better, but it could be a lot worse. So.
Okay. Well, let's move on. Let's take a look at this one here. In progress, Asrock motherboard hints at upcoming revival of Threadripper.
Yes. So, the high-end desktop space has kind of been abandoned by both AMD and Intel. That happened when AMD started releasing Ryzen processors and followed those up immediately after with Threadripper processors, which basically took Intel's entire lineup of high-end desktop processors out behind the woodshed and, like, mercilessly executed them with a sawed-off shotgun. It was not pretty, and Intel released like one generation of HEDP processors after that, and Threadripper did 2 more generations. We got like 3rd generation of Threadripper. But then AMD also kind of, by releasing the 16-core variation of their consumer-grade Ryzen chips, sort of took Threadripper out behind the woodshed and then executed that with a sawed-off shotgun. Because, like, let's be honest, there's not a very large market of people who need to do ridiculous amounts of processing, but wouldn't be better served with a GPU, you know? So it's like, if you're on the consumer side, right, you use a workstation at home, 16 cores and 32 threads of processing power is plenty for the vast majority of people. For most at-home workflows, it doesn't actually benefit you to have more processing power than that on your CPU, and you'd be better off getting a big fat GPU, okay? Or you're doing like really heavy scientific or engineering workloads, and you personally would be better off with a server. And so they continue to release their EPYC server processors to serve those folks. And so instead of having kind of a middle ground, like, desktop platform for consumers to have in workstations on their desk that had the same sorts of PCI support and thread counts as server chips, it's a small market. That being said, it sounds like AMD is going to possibly start, serving that market again. Asrock has a prototype motherboard that was leaked this past week that seems to suggest that we are going to be seeing a TR50, which is the Threadripper socket. So the TR40 was the last Threadripper socket that we had. This motherboard purportedly has a TR50 socket on it, which would be used for a next generation Threadripper processor. Now, it's not going to be backwards compatible with any of the older Threadripper processors, right? Because since the last generation of Threadripper, they've moved everything up to a new generation of RAM, new PCI standards, so on and so forth. So, yeah, it's going to be a new socket with a new generation of chips. But if you're really into ridiculously high core counts, like upwards of 96 cores on a single processor, you psychopath, then yeah, you may very well be able to get that in the near future. Near future being like in the next year or so, with a revival of the Threadripper line.
That's amazing. Good stuff. Okay. I think we're going to hop into some gaming news right here.
Yeah. Talk about why it hurts that I'm still running an RX 580.
I was going to say, this next thing we're going to talk about, Starfield.
Yes.
Listener, I can't believe that you wouldn't have heard about Starfield. Let's just say that. I mean,
that's fair.
I've not seen so much marketing in a game. Like, oh my goodness. Landen,
yes,
listen.
But Landen, you don't like have any game consoles or anything like that.
But I still didn't hear that it had launched, so, you know.
No. I'm just saying Starfield in general. Like, whether it
you
launched
have
or not.
Heard of it.
Oh, I've heard of it because of you guys. I
True.
have literally never seen the word written down other than in our notes.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
Just saying.
But dear listener.
And that's why we're here for you, listener.
There you go. Starfield. It has launched. It's to a lot of success.
Yep.
So we're going to give you just the absolute best run. Otherwise, it's been quite good. That's the note that Caleb put on there.
Yes, it is. There was an interview that was like a streamed interview. I can't remember what the news channel that was covering
Wasn't
it on
CNBC
YouTube
or something.
Maybe it was. I can't remember. Somebody was doing an interview with Phil Spencer and Todd Howard about the Starfield launch. And one of the questions that was submitted by viewers for them to ask was, why didn't you optimize this for PCs? And Todd Howard was like, we did. And then he basically was like, this is a true next-gen game using, and we really did try to push the technology as far as we could. You just might need to upgrade your gaming PC. And I'm sitting like, over here cries in 580, and it was not a good moment. Like, I have download, right? Because I'm a Game Pass subscriber, so Starfield is free for me, right?
Yep.
Like, I already am paying a subscription to have access to that. And I downloaded it. It's like, 125 gigs or something like that?
Yeah. Yes.
I have an SSD in my gaming PC, but it doesn't have 125 gigs of free space on it. So I downloaded that to one of the hard drives in my computer that has
it was
terabytes.
actually 140. I just want to correct you. It's 140.19
Okay.
gigs. So
Perfect.
Perfect.
So I installed it onto one of my hard drives, because I have terabytes of free space on my hard drives. That's what they're there for. And generally speaking, it doesn't make that big of a difference to run a game off of a hard drive versus off of an SSD. You have slightly longer loading times. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. I can deal with that. And then I went and looked at the minimum system requirements, for Starfield after I'd already downloaded it. And it did say that an AMD Ryzen 2600 XT, which is what I have, is okay. That's the lowest processor that is recommended for the game. I'm like, just barely scraped past that. The lowest tier GPU that they were suggesting was like, I want to say like
the
a
RX 5700.
5700, not even the 5600, the 5700, which is several years newer than my GPU and a class tier higher than my GPU. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And they're recommending that one specifically because it does have 8 gigs of VRAM as well. And my RX 580, they made 2 versions of that card. One had 8 gigs of VRAM, one has 4. So, yeah, I have the 4 gigabyte version. That's not great. Also, SSD. It specifically called out a solid state drive as one of the requirements for the minimum system spec. I haven't tried to run the game yet, but I'm genuinely curious to see what's going to happen when it launches. Because technically, the API it requires is DirectX 12, and my 580 supports DirectX 12. So, like, theoretically, all of the technology that the game needs to launch is present in my system. It's just going to run like a dog. So
Yeah.
I'll report back on how that goes. But generally speaking, other than the fact that on PC, this game is an absolute beast to try and get running, it's been generally pretty well received. Like, It's a Bethesda game at launch. It's a huge technical achievement, the way they've got all of these systems and stuff, like between the ship customization to the persistent world states for all of these different planets that you can land on and then explore and stuff like that, and all the character customization and stuff. All of these things are working together pretty well. There's bugs. There's some issues. I've seen funny videos of people clipping through the floor of their spacecraft when they tried to take off and stuff like that, and just falling gently down to the planet they were just on and watching their rocket ship go away without them. And it's like, well, now what?
Yeah, what do you do?
So I've seen stuff like that. It is happening, but so far nothing game breaking, and it's not like a hilarious number of awful bugs the way that Cyberpunk 2077 was when it launched. Right. So that's pretty good. Good job, Bethesda. Like, once again, the standard that you had to meet was releasing a functional game.
That was it.
And they seem to have done that, which is good. Like, we had this whole conversation on the last podcast about Baldur's Gate 3. Everybody was super excited about it because, yes, it is an extremely complex and very well-written, deep, character-driven RPG, which is super cool to see. We haven't ever seen anything quite like it. But also, it's just a finished game, at finished. Launch that actually works, and everyone was super thrilled about that. And I was all like, there's your bar, Bethesda. That's what you got to manage. And it looks like they did it. So, good job. Like, even if all of the role-playing elements in the story turn out to just be bog-standard Skyrim in space, I don't think anybody's going to be upset at this point. It's a complicated game. It looks really good, has a ton of customization in it, and it works.
That's what you want. That it works. You paid your $60 to $70 or subscription, and it works.
Yep.
With the correct. By the way, get an SSD. I actually watched somebody install it on the hard drive. It was an SSD.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
And the best part of it is that, like, the hard drive that it's installed on is, it's a fairly large, I think like 4 terabyte hard drive or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the more terabytes there are in a hard drive, the slightly slower the read speeds get.
Yes.
Because, the seeking takes longer for heads to get into position to actually read what's on the disks. It's not like a huge difference, but suffice it to say that I have one of the slower hard drives, too, that you could be running this thing off of. And the only way that you'd get any slower than what I currently have it installed on is if you were to run it off of, like, an actual pants archival hard drive that was running at, like, 5,400 RPM.
Oh, man.
It's not that bad, but still, it's not going to be great. So, yeah, I was just like,
are you going to have to screenshot some of these things or something?
Yes.
Like,
put them on time it.
You need to put them on the YouTube channel. There's your next video.
That
would be great. You Starfield on my latest
at my screen, do a time lapse of like click start, see how long it takes.
Dude, that'd be perfect content right there. I would love to see that. See how awesome it runs.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great. Like, to be clear, when they say minimum system requirements, listener, like, if you are in a similar state as me, don't panic just yet. Minimum system requirement means 1080p medium settings. Okay? And you'll be able to run at like a 60 frames per second or even a little bit higher. That's what the minimum system requirement is geared toward. If you are willing to drop below medium settings and or willing to drop below 1080p as your rendering resolution, you might be able to run it on significantly worse hardware. So that's what I'm hoping. But I'll follow up and let you know whether or not that actually works.
I'm really excited actually to hear about this.
I mean, you could always test it. My 580 is actually a good deal faster than your 1060. So
It is. It really is. No, I saw. Let's see. What was it that it needed? Here, let me go back. Go back for
it was the
NVIDIA,
RX
the GeForce.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the 1070 Ti is the minimum for that. Mine, I have the 1060. That's it. No Ti.
The 3 gig.
the
3 gig 1060. Like, you might not even have enough VRAM to render the menu of this game, you know?
Exactly.
Like, oh boy.
Exactly. I did pre-install it on my Series X on the Xbox. I just haven't.
Yeah.
When I finally dive into it, I want to have some time, like a few hours.
Right.
Because from what I've heard, it's like to get to where the game actually takes off is like 10, maybe 20 hours in. Like finally takes like, so that's why I'm like, I want to have the time to learn some things before, so I will somehow get time. We'll see, but maybe when Starfield 2 comes.
Good luck.
I don't know. We'll see.
I was going to say, I'm still sitting over here like, if Starfield doesn't run, that's okay. I still have to finish Divinity Original Sin 2 and then play Baldur's Gate 3
and then
before Starfield's even on my list. Like, so far behind.
Dude, yeah. All right, well, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the Xbox September update. Quite a bit on here. One thing I did want to mention, and funny enough, just in time for Starfield too for this. I'd have to say the biggest thing on here is actually the Discord update on here. So before they updated to where Discord and Xbox, you could actually jump into one of the channels in Discord that you're a part of or servers and talk to whoever's on there. Now you can actually stream directly from your Xbox to the Discord channel, which a lot of people like to do. They'll be in a channel together. People share their screens, share whatever to see what they're looking like. And obviously everyone's going to want to see their Starfield characters, what decisions they're doing or whatever. So pretty cool update. I know I've done this a few times whenever I've been playing with like friends or family, and people are like, what are you playing? Or how do you do this? Or what's your goofy character look like? So, or how many sandwiches are in the cockpit of your Starfield ship now? You can show them. Or actually, I think it was potatoes. Someone filled up the entire cockpit with just a bunch of potatoes, and then they opened the door, and it all just went.
I did see that. Yeah, it's just that was actually pretty impressive potato physics, I've got to say. Like the way the potatoes rolled out of there when the door opened, and then the way they pushed out of the way when the door closed again. I was like, that actually looks pretty realistic.
So all the little shenanigans you can do, if you're not up for streaming to Twitch and letting the whole world see, and you just want just friends, you can just do that, stream it to Discord. So I thought was pretty good. There are other things. There's another big feature that I feel like is pretty good if you play publicly online. The new big feature is the Xbox on the update is the Xbox voice reporting. It is now available US, UK, Canada, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. It allows you to record a 60-second clip of an in-game voice incident and then send it to Xbox safety team for examination. So I thought that was pretty cool. The only thing this doesn't cover is seeing like Xbox party chat conversations. Like if you're in your own party, no, but it's more just the online more public, you can do that and send it. So
yeah, that's fair. I guess they probably figure that for party chat and stuff, you have a little bit more control over.
Yeah, it's more
your
private.
own party chat.
Let's be real. That's the only way I chat is in party.
That's very true. Yeah,
you just get some interesting
public voice comms or
yeah. The next thing on the update is the new variable refresh rate, the VRR. So the Series X and S owners can now choose to disable VRR for entertainment experiences. In games, VRR aims to dynamically adjust your screen's refresh rate to eliminate screen tearing and stuttering. So you can turn on or off. There's a couple other little quick ones I'm not going to go into too much, but they do have a new rewards page on the Xbox. The ask to join a game. So before, with that is you can actually just send a message to someone, say, hey, can I join, instead of just jumping in. So you can say, yes, you can ask me. They do have more wish list notifications and a new pairing method for pairing accessories, where you don't even have, there's a little button that's on the Xbox itself where you have to push that and then push whatever device or accessory to sit there and sync. You actually don't have to push that on the Xbox anymore. You can now just pair from your couch or wherever. So if you want to take a look at that a little bit more, it's pretty cool. What?
That was still how you had to pair things on the Xbox?
Yeah.
I haven't had to push a button to pair anything for like 7 years.
Hey, you settle down now.
I'm just saying.
Mr. Non-console over there. Listen. No.
Maybe like a $25 Bluetooth speaker from China. I had to do that too, but
from China. Nice.
Other than that, everything just shows up in my phone. Oh, pair it. Okay, there we go.
Thanks. All right, let's talk about the next thing. Now that, Landen just destroyed the whole September update. Moving on.
Hey, I'm sorry. That's I'm just surprised that new of a console, you couldn't just turn the controller on and have it pair with the over software. You have to actually push button here and a push button here and hold your leg up and twist around in a certain dance, and then you're good. It's kind of like trying to find TV back in the day.
Hey, that's because you buy things from China. Remember, you said that.
This is apparently you did too. This is the Xbox I'm talking about.
I don't know where they made it, but we'll just leave it there. Let's put a pin in that.
I still remember quite fondly the days when it was exciting when you bought a new Wiimote for your Wii, and it had a button external to the battery compartment. You didn't have to take the battery door off to push the button to pair it with the new Wii. You had and it had a little nubbin on the plastic thing for the lanyard, so that you could use the little nubbin to push the button instead of having to it was this whole thing. I remember getting one of those and being like, oh, this is so cool. The button is on the outside of the controller. So
those were
I don't
the
know.
days, right?
I still think we've come a little ways since then.
Just a little bit. Oh, frick. All right. Next thing we'll talk about here. I think it's pretty cool if you're on the Xbox system and you want to have a different way of viewing your Xbox clips. Microsoft is now testing automatic OneDrive uploads for your Xbox clips. So this is actually a newer feature that they actually have for Xbox insiders on what they call the Alpha Ring, to where you can actually upload your clips to your OneDrive, which is nice because right now there's not any other way except using an Xbox itself or an Xbox app on your phone to view your clips, or port not an easy way to port them over or do something. This will give you an option to be able to upload or download from your OneDrive the clips, and if you have any kind of want to upload it somewhere or whatnot, you can do that. So, which I think is pretty cool, because if I have some funny stuff I want to share, I have a lot of funny clips, and I'm going to send them to Caleb once this happens and put it together for our YouTube channel, because there's some funny things, even when our streams that I've clipped that I don't know if you've put on there or not, but there's some funny stuff that I've clipped that I'm like, oh man.
Perfect.
So I think that'll be a fun little thing to do. So, but if you are in the Alpha Ring, what they call the Alpha Ring for insiders, you can test this out, and it's another feature coming soon. So cool. All right. Well, I think that we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode, unless Landen has one more thing.
No, I don't.
One more thing.
I mean, I could complain more about how I think the Xbox is outdated for the fact that you still have to push a button.
Okay, let's be real.
Something
the Xbox, any console is outdated as soon as it's released. Okay, I mean, even graphics cards and PCs, and
I mean,
I'm saying that was outdated before it was released.
Actually, I will say that upon the release of the Series X and the PlayStation 5, pretty much everyone agreed that if there was one thing that the Xbox actually was behind on, it was the controller. Like, it's a perfectly fine controller. It's nice, but it's no DualSense. And Sony, like, totally leapfrogged them on the controller side of things. And I don't know how you pair a DualSense to a PlayStation 5. It might be sleeker than having to do the button pushing and all that stuff. I don't know.
I don't know.
So maybe
I don't have a
maybe this
PlayStation
is
5.
still just another
I don't know.
yes, the
Catch up.
Xbox controller is a little bit behind, but like I said, I still have that Wiimote, and
Yep.
I still occasionally will like go. It's all like, oh, okay, I need a Wiimote to pair with somebody else's Wii at like their house or something for my kids to play Smash Bros at a cousin's house or something like that. And it's always like, oh, make sure you grab the one that has the external button because it's way easier to pair that one.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. The stuff we remember and just had to endure.
I mean, let's be honest. You want to talk about the stuff we remember? I remember having to unwrap a 15-foot long cord from around an N64 controller in order to plug in and then play on the couch. These things were so fetching long.
It's true. But do you remember when you had all the friends, and so you'd have I went to a friend's house where they had the Nintendo 64 on the middle of the floor so that everyone's controllers could reach to the couch.
Yep.
And so, but then the wires were just barely touching the back
Yeah.
of the TV. Yeah.
Yes.
Or the best was when it was in the front.
Still,
the inputs and outputs in the front of the TV.
Yes.
You're like, you get so much more reach.
Because the TV was like 2 or 3 feet deep. Yep. So like, yeah, you would get like an extra 2 to 3 feet of like real estate off of your cords by having inputs on the front of the thing. Oh, so much better. And that way you didn't have to unplug your VCR in order to plug in your
That's right.
N64. Like that was totally a thing that I had to do on several TVs. It's like, oh, you want to play on a game console now? You got to reach around the back and unplug the VCR and then plug in the. Oh man.
And then when you had that one friend that it's like the parents upstairs had the TV, the big screen TV that no one was allowed on, but finally dad gave in and said we could hook up the N64 on the big screen TV. That night was so awesome.
Yes.
007 GoldenEye.
Yep. Yep. And and there'd pizza. Somebody would order, there'd be Little Caesars and you'd have like bags of potato chips sitting there. And it was like, this is
just cans of Nirvana
for a 90s kid.
Oh man. The stacks that we'd always have a wall where we'd start stacking the Mountain Dew or Pepsi or whatever cans to see if we could touch the wall, however many deep. Oh man.
Oh dear.
Nerds, I know.
I think this is how you know that the episode is over, listener.
We just totally nerded out. Dear
All
listener, we'd like to thank you for listening.
I did find out how to pair a DualSense controller to a PS5.
Oh,
did you? Okay.
I was curious. So, to pair a DualSense wireless controller to a PS5 console, you plug it into the console and turn it on.
Okay.
And then it is paired. And you can, once it's charged fully enough, you can unplug it and play.
So that's the same as an Xbox. So cool.
Yeah. So you still have to walk up to the thing and.
Yeah, you have to walk up, plug it in.
You actually have to interact with the console still in order to pair it.
What was this thing about pushing 2 buttons at the same time?
So you can either do the thing you just said. So you have a USB that connects directly to the top, a USB-C to the top of the controller that goes into the Xbox. That's one way to pair. The second way to pair is at the top of the button here. There's a button that you would push and hold on the controller, and then a button on the Xbox. Or if you're wanting to do Bluetooth connection from this to a device that accepts an Xbox controller, you just push this and then a phone.
And then you have to go into the Bluetooth settings on the phone and set it up that way. So it's your standard Bluetooth controller, basically. Yep. We still haven't solved this problem for controllers the way that we have for headphones. Like, headphones have gotten a lot better with pairing, and I think that it's safe to say that controllers have not kept pace with some of the pairing advancements that have been made in wireless Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can
That's just too bad. I'm sorry.
do that.
I mean,
Oh, no.
the cable version, that makes a whole lot of sense because, duh. And half the time you're going to want to be playing with a cable anyways because it's going to have less latency in most cases. But
actually, no, not anymore.
really? So they fixed that Bluetooth issue on a...
So it's not a Bluetooth connection.
The audio people
for
and the console people need to combine forces.
They do, actually, because the wireless connection for most gaming mice, high-end keyboards, and game controllers that are connecting to dedicated pieces of hardware like a game console or like the dongles that you plug into the back, like for your mouse that you plug into the back of your computer. Like this Logitech mouse that I'm using here is not using Bluetooth to connect to my Mac. It is using a dongle because the dongle is significantly faster than Bluetooth is. And it's basically near as makes no difference the same speed as a wired connection would be. And so for the Xbox controller to connect to the Xbox itself, it's using basically Wi-Fi, like a new version, Wi-Fi 6 or something equivalent speed, 2.4 gigahertz wireless connection that is, as near as makes no difference, the same latency as a wire would be. So unless you were using like an optical connection, which would be faster, but also, can you imagine draping an optical cable through the middle of your living room just to play? That seems sketchy.
I just find it strange that, like, I could understand if it's a third-party controller for either console having issues pairing it, but why can't Microsoft or Sony do what, like, Apple does or what Google does with their headphones and make it just when you turn it on, it automatically just works?
Yeah.
Why can't they do that? There's no reason they can't.
I think
agree.
This is the progress towards that. They're getting there.
I mean, well, technically, yes, it is progress, but this is like 10 years ago progress.
They're getting there.
This is very much a case where, like, on the one hand, you have the headphone makers that are using Bluetooth because they need something that's really low energy, but they've put a lot of time and effort into making the pairing process seamless so that people won't be upset about the fact that they're using Bluetooth. And then you have the controller side of things where they've put a lot of time and effort into making a wireless connection that doesn't have the same latency issues as Bluetooth, because people would get really upset about that if there was high latency on their game controller, but they have not put time and effort into making the pairing process seamless. And so if you're pairing via Bluetooth, you still have to go through the rigmarole of the Bluetooth pairing mode and Bluetooth settings. If you're pairing it with the console, it's the same basic thing. You can either plug the thing in like a first generation Apple Pencil, or you can do the, sync up the 2 button pushes, because that's just how we've been doing things ever since wireless controllers were a thing. So yeah, it is kind of a funny situation where, like, just because of the priority differences between wireless audio and wireless controllers, they've been focusing on 2 different things. But both pieces of technology would be improved if we could get them to talk to each other.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, as a non-gamer person, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Let's get the AirPods folks to talk to the DualSense folks, and we'll figure this out.
Because, like, if you think about it, because if you, say, want to go somewhere and not that, I guess this isn't an issue anymore because nobody does this, but if you went to a friend's house to play a game with them, which, because you can't, don't want to stay at your place to play the game with them, I don't know. But if you did, you could just take your controller that you're used to using, and it's got all this stickiness that you're used to, because every controller after using it for a while is going to have a weird feel to it. You're used to your controller. You take it, it just automatically finds, oh, hey, this is a new controller. Do you want to make it work? Yes. Ready, go. Instead of having to plug it in or do this stupid dance and push buttons thing, because you have to do that with it. Like I was reading on Sony's website, if you want to pair a controller to a dude console, you have to do that. That's so dumb. I'm sorry. I feel bad for you guys that you have to put up with that.
Hey, I was not expecting a rant from Landen.
I wasn't either. I was not expecting.
I wasn't expecting this. This is new, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
On this one.
On something that literally has no effect on me whatsoever. I just
No,
feel bad
that's
for
what-
you
yeah.
guys. I feel bad for anybody that is in the gaming world that has to put up with this every time they buy a new console.
That's crazy. Anyway, so we're at the end of the episode. If you can't tell, listener, and if you're still here, we appreciate you. Anyway, so we appreciate you listening, dear listener. You can, if you want to get a hold of us, you can at our social media platforms as well as callingallplatforms.com. If you want to check out any videos, you can head over to YouTube, videos that we have up there on our YouTube channel, Calling All Platforms Tech and Calling All Platforms Gaming. All right, dear listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.